drive to that building, how would you drive to that building? Adam Davidson writes in The New Yorker, quote, reaching the property is surprisingly difficult. The tower stands amid a welter of on-ramps, off-ramps, and overpasses. During the 9 days I was in town, I went to the site half a dozen times. On each occasion, I had a comical exchange with a taxi driver who had no idea which combination of turns would lead to the building's entrance. So it's literally hard to get into. This is a picture from one angle. I should also show you, this is a picture that ran in The New Yorker today that I think is supposed to be the front of the building. Point of personal privilege here. Susan saw me reading this article, and she laughed out loud when I got to this page. She said she thought from across the room that I was looking at dirty pictures. It does have a certain something. Come on. Paging Georgia O'Keeffe. But this building, I have to say, whatever you think of its looks, it doesn't make sense for a bunch of reasons. Not just because there's no way to get there. There's no way to get to it, and it's kind of hilarious looking from the front. Look at this. We've marked on this map with that red arrow. That's where the fancy hotels are in the capital of Azerbaijan, right on the Caspian Sea, right? The other building that we just showed you, the one with the on-ramps and off-ramps to nowhere and everything, that big new building, it's not where all the other hotels are. It's over there. In what's described as not a particularly good neighborhood, it's over by an extensive field of rail yards. It's about an hour's walk from where any other well-off Western tourist might be expected to stay in this town. It's weird for a luxury. Until December, this past December, where the upper right arrow is there, that weird building that you can't get into in the middle of nowhere next to the rail yards, that was supposed to be the site of the new Trump Tower in Azerbaijan in all its Georgia O'Keeffe glory. It was supposed to be way over there, away from everything else in that capital city. In fact, I know it's hard, if you've never been there, I've never been there, you might find it hard to sort of picture what's weird about the location. Let me show you how weird that location was. 2014, the president's daughter, Ivanka, was on a business trip to Azerbaijan. They had a Trump building project there. She posted this Facebook video showing how awesome the view was from her hotel room.
A very long flight, but I'm here in Baku, Azerbaijan. Check it out, view from my balcony. The Flame Towers. And the Caspian Sea.
That is, in fact, a lovely view there, right next to the Caspian Sea. That's nowhere near the building she's there to work on. That's not where the Trump Tower was going. We think she's at the Four Seasons, which is 5 kilometers away and an hour's walk away from where the Trump building was going up in the middle of town, nowhere near the sea, right? In all its hard-to-look-at glory. This building in this random neighborhood in Baku, Azerbaijan, it's a business project that really just doesn't make sense on the surface. The building's a huge luxury development in a city that isn't sustaining its current luxury properties. It's in the wrong part of town for a luxury property. No way was ever designed to get into the property. Why was this built? How could it ever make financial sense to pour this much in terms of resources into something that doesn't even seem like it was designed to work? This was supposed to be Trump Tower, Baku, Azerbaijan. 1 month after our presidential election, the Trump organization abandoned this project. They pulled out. And here's what you need to know. The Trump family's business partner in that project was the family of the transportation minister of Azerbaijan, the one who made all those lucrative partnerships, the inexplicably lucrative deals with companies that really do appear to just be fronts for the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Apparently helping the Iranian Revolutionary Guard launder money, evade sanctions for their support of terrorism around the world, and making himself and his own family wildly wealthy in the process. That was their partner. His family was their partner in that deal. Deals that make no financial sense on the surface are worth a second look to see if they make some other kind of sense, some other way of looking at it. If you are a government official who gets rich off the contracts you award and the projects you greenlight, you might award anything as a contract, right? You might greenlight anything. And American businesses are free to do business anywhere it is legal to do business in the world. But American businesses are not allowed to accept any funds if the origin of those funds is a sanctioned organization like the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. And you have to check it out. You have to know. American businesses are not allowed to participate in business deals with partners who are acting illegally. And you have to know, you have to check it out. Looking the other way is not a defense. Do you know the handbag company Dooney and Burke? Me neither. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but they're very nice handbags. And I'm learning about them now because Frederick Burke of Dooney and Burke was convicted in 2009 of doing a business deal in Azerbaijan with a corrupt partner. The handbag guy wasn't paying the bribes. He was just in business with an Azerbaijani guy who did pay bribes, who was corrupt. And that's enough to have put the handbag guy in federal prison. If you're an American business, you are expected to do your due diligence to make sure the people you're doing business with are not paying bribes. They're not corrupt. In the case of this inexplicable Trump building project that was inexplicably abandoned right after the election, Trump and his family were in business with the cartoon caricature of corruption in that country. And I mean that all literally. In the fall of 2014, 4 months before, Ivanka Trump was on the balcony of the Four Seasons showing off the Caspian Sea from a normal hotel location. You know, the family she was there to do business with was featured in this article in Foreign Policy magazine. Look at the headline: "The Corleones of the Caspian." Under the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which is U.S. law, not to put too fine a point on it, but under the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, you cannot go into business with the Corleones of the Caspian. You must, as an American business, do due diligence to make sure your financial partners in your international businesses are not paying bribes, are not outrageously corrupt, are not involved in huge repeated financial dealings with sanctioned international sponsors of terrorism like the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. It is a violation of U.S. law to do business with, to make money from a business partnership like that. The new president, as I said, he and his organization backed out of this deal a month after the election. Not before he received millions of dollars in the deal. We know that from the limited financial filing he made as a candidate for president. If there is going to be an independent investigation of this president and his campaign and his ties to Russia, right? It is inconceivable that an independent investigation would not include an examination of the president's financials, right? His tax returns, his business records, all the rest. Adam Davidson at The New Yorker has just detailed enough about the president's dealings in this one former Soviet republic to raise several questions. I mean, is the president or his family potentially at risk of having violated the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which is a crime for which you go to jail? Is the president or is his family potentially at risk of being blackmailed by foreign business partners who have evidence of ties or behavior that might put the president and his family in legal jeopardy if those things were? The senior Democrat on the banking committee is Senator Sherrod Brown. He says he's seen enough about this particular deal to justify starting a new inquiry into our new president. We will have more on that ahead. But if there is an independent, truly independent inquiry into this president, whether it starts in Russia and winds its way through Azerbaijan, or whether it maybe even starts here, starts with this in Azerbaijan, there is a reason we should expect this White House, this president, to do everything in his power to keep secret his finances and his business dealings. But you know what? If you get paid an extra $60 million for a house in Palm Beach that no one wants to live in, and it gets torn down with a guy never living in it, never setting foot in it, you get paid an extra $60 million over what you paid for it, and you put nothing into it, and the guy who paid it is a Russian guy? That needs explaining. If your company is getting paid millions of dollars for a project that makes no sense, that is 1 degree of separation from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, that needs explaining. We've got 2 of these stories now in 1 week. How many more do you think there are? And what lengths do you think they will go to avoid this all being turned over and